Are key concepts obtained for the text La idea de organización by Pablo. 1. Association of people ruled by norms in order to accomplish a determined specific common objective. 2. There are two types of human associations. The first one is related with the idea of spontaneous social order, informal and endogenous, which is denominated cosmos. The second one arguments the idea of social order created, exogenous and directed, called taxis. 3. The organization is the object of study of management and can be defined as a human association and is related with the taxis concept, in other words, created with a specific objective. 4. Society is an institution related with the cosmos concept, since there are no explicit laws and are not directed to a particular person. 5. Organizations have been defined in multiple ways, for example, as machine, as a brain, culture, political system, tools of domination, between others. However, there are three paradigms that are deeply studied: mechanist paradigm, organist paradigm, and holographic paradigm. The mechanist paradigm understands organizations as machines, which should be composed by parts and processes coherent between each other. Also, each activity, relationship, and person works for a specific core that leads to effectiveness and perfection. This paradigm uses military models to manage the organization and is also characterized because of the application of Taylor and Fadul's theory. 7. The organicist paradigm is based on the idea of motivation as an important and indispensable piece in the organization to accomplish its goals. Although some theorists propose this paradigm as the humanization of the mechanist, at the end, the relationship between boss and employee continue being the same, one looking for the efficient logic, while the other maintains being irrational. 8. The holographic paradigm is based on the metaphor of the human brain, which gives the idea of a work that can be at the same time specialized and inclusive. However, it is important to mention that there exists a need for a hierarchy in order to structure the organization. It is possible to conclude that the human being is just a source of information that works under pressure of hyper-competitiveness. 9. Finally, these paradigms don't represent a big change in the content, but just in form and presentation. Part 2. Taylor and Fadul's theories. Modern administration has been heavily influenced in recent times by the key studies developed in the 20th century by management scientists who study the importance of business management and the relationship between work and worker. Among these vast amount of studies, two theories on management and organizations brought up a whole new perspective on work, how it should be undertaken, and how the worker can fulfill easily their job optimizing his or her performance. The first theory, the 4 principles of scientific management, was developed by American engineer Frederick Taylor, and our second theory, the 14 principles of management, was developed by mining engineer Henry Fadul. These are the two theories we shall review. Taylor's theory. In 1909, Frederick Taylor published his book, The Principles of Scientific Management, where he proposes the idea that management has to be developed under scientific principles or investigation, and that logic has no place within an organization. Within his publication, he establishes 4 basic principles to what he views as necessary for any organization to apply in order to achieve optimization in regards to the labor each individual worker has to deal with. These are called the 4 basic principles of scientific management. The 4 principles are as follows. 1. Work can't just be based off common sense. Work has to be studied through the scientific method in order to determine what is the most efficient way to perform a given task. 2. Work shouldn't be randomized to each person. People should be given tasks that they are most likely compatible to do and motivated to do, and should receive training to better their efficiency. 3. Work should be monitored and supervised, and feedback should be given to each worker in order to enhance efficiency. 4. There should be a differentiation between the tasks of what a manager does and what the worker does. That way, the manager can focus on training and the worker on his labor. Fayol's theory. In 1916, Henry Fayol published his 14 Principles of Management in the book Organización Industrial y General. The 14 principles established are presented as key factors for an organization to consider when looking to better the internal structure and overall performance of the organization in regards to its proposed business. Alongside these 14 principles, he provided 6 functions of management that tie in with the principles and help enhance their effectiveness within an organization. Principles are as follows. 1. Division of work. When employees are specialized, output can increase because they become increasingly skilled and efficient. 2. Authority. Managers must have the authority to give orders, but they must also keep in mind that with authority comes responsibility. 3. Discipline. Discipline must be upheld in organizations, but methods for doing so can vary. 4. Unity of command. Employees should only have one direct supervisor. 5. Unity of direction. Teams with the same objective should be working under the direction of one manager, using one plan. This will ensure that action is properly coordinated. 6. Subordination of individual interest to the general interest. The interest of one employee should not be allowed to become more important than those of the group. These include managers. 7. Remuneration. Employee satisfaction depends on fair remuneration for everyone. This includes financial and non-financial compensation. 8. Centralization. This principle refers to how close employees are to the decision-making process. This is important to aim for an appropriate balance. 9. Scalar chain. Employees should be aware of where they stand in the organization's hierarchy or chain of command. 10. Order. The workplace facilitates must be clean, tidy, and safe for employees. Everything should have its place. 11. Equity. Managers should be fair to staff at all times, both maintaining discipline as necessary and acting with kindness where appropriate. 12. Stability of tenure of personnel. Managers should strive to minimize employee turnover. Personnel planning should be a priority. 13. Initiative. Employees should be given the necessary level of freedom to create and carry out plans. And finally, 14. Esprit de corps. Organizations should strive to promote team spirit and unity. Kurt Lewin. Professor Leonardo Schwarstein. Edgar Morin. Professor Joe Badaracco. Francisco Lopez. Friedrich Hayek. Antanas Mokus. Gareth Morgan. Rodrigo Muñoz. Frederick Taylor. Henry Fayol.